Long here with Quest Trust Company. I am glad you are joining me here today. David, man, you're right on point, already saying hello. Look at that. I love it. So as we kind of go through today's topic, I want to make everyone aware of just some housekeeping rules. Is first off, ask questions. No, you have no idea how many times we do these classes, we do these presentations, right? We bring in outside speakers, we'll speak ourselves on certain areas, and the audience isn't participating. We want the audience to participate. We want you guys out there as audience members to ask your questions. Keep this an open forum today, right? Next is if you have investments, if you have anything like that, use the comment section down below. If you're someone that's a wholesaler raising capital, if you're just a contractor, put your information down below so you guys can network with one another and exchange information. All right. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Hello, everyone. Bam, I love it. So today's topic is going to be actually a brand new topic for me to teach. And this is the first time I'm teaching this topic, mainly due to the fact that it's changed my life. I found ways to make money very passively without really changing what I do on a day-by-day basis. So that's really going to be the focus of today's topic. So we're going to just dive right on in. All right. And I wanted to call this topic, how to make money while you sleep. Right? Now that sounds a little misleading, to be honest, because really it's just a passive income class. But since I started at Quest, right, I've found out there's so many different ways to make passive income. So, hey, Christopher, how you doing? Chris Russell over here, great guy. If you guys ever have questions about senior living complexes, make sure you reach out to him. So on today's topic, right, we always want to start with a quick disclaimer. Anything I'm talking about today is strictly for your guys' educational purposes. I can't endorse any products. I can't tell you if a deal's good or bad. I can't give you structuring advice. All I can do is give you education. So you'll see this when you come to the case studies, how I'm going to be going through the case studies, that it's not structuring advice, right? So hopefully, I do hope this helps you out. Someone by the name of Tickle Nose Face Painting just said hello. I love your name. I think that's hilarious. As we kind of keep going, guys, a little bit about me. I didn't start off in real estate, nor did I start off in Quest. I actually, I joined the U.S. Army. I was a Apache, I always say Apache mechanic. I was really labeled as a 15 Yankee. Right? I pretty much got to build Apaches from the ground up. Right? Loved the job, but man, the pay sucked. So after that, I went to college. I got a degree. I used my GI Bill, and I got a degree in global marketing and a minor in business administration. Now, what's important about that is after I graduated college, I actually took a career working with the FBI. I think this is important to understand because I didn't jump right into real estate. I knew my military service carried over, so it helped me kind of start at a higher level at that area. Obviously, I had a degree, and my retirement services also carried over to the FBI side. Well, what's unique about that is the pay still sucked. It was still government work, no matter how you want to look at it. And so I wanted more, and I worked there for a very temporary point of time. I was actually only labeled as an intern, and as an intern, you kind of go through an internship program. So, but I didn't like it. So I started looking for something different. And really what I was looking for was a place to kind of spread my wings a little bit. And I found Quest. Now, what's funny is Quest wanted me to work with them years and years prior to me even joining the military, and I kept declining it. But I finally took the offer, and I said, you know what, let's go ahead and jump right on in. I started working with Quest Trust Company. And so who is Quest, right? Right now, they are the largest self-directed IRA custodian in Texas. They have somewhere right around 20,000 active investors, across the U.S., a little over $2 billion under management now, and about 100 employees, with 34 of them being certified IRA service professionals. That's important to understand, is because Quincy Long, our CEO, takes the education he gives us very serious and wants to make sure that we understand what we're doing on a day-by-day basis. All right. So lastly, is all the cash we have undirected. So many of our clients set up accounts, they move in cash, they haven't figured out what to do with these self-directed IRAs, so they're looking for investments. So make sure you're networking with one another and leveraging that chat box, all right? Now notice, Quest, we deal in self-directed IRAs. So what is a self-directed IRA? In person, every time I ask this question, guys, I get a bunch of answers, but if you're a current client of mine or you've been to a lot of our presentations, you know that self-directed, it's just a marketing term. I always tell people you can look everywhere you want in the IRS publications, in the IRS tax code. It's under IRS 408, little a. Yes, there is the difference between little a and big A, right? But 408, little a. Right? Self-directed doesn't exist. The IRA really is just an IRA. We use self-directed as a marketing term for what the custodian lets you do. At Quest, we let you do real estate style assets, fix and flips and rentals and notes and syndications. Fidelity has a self-directed IRA, and they let you self-directed in stocks and indexes and mutual funds and CDs. There's not one that's better than the other. They're just different. That's really all it comes down to. So you find a self-directed custodian that will let you invest in what you'd like to invest in. Now, this means that there are several types of accounts that can be self-directed. These are probably the 7 that are the most popular, the traditional, the Roth IRA. You know, most of us out there have a traditional IRA, whether we realize it or not. This is because the traditional IRA, your 401k, your 457, 403b, your TSP, a pension plan will typically turn into a traditional IRA. Everyone wants that sexy Roth account. This is the one that grows tax-free. We teach classes just on Roth conversions directly, but we can help you set up either of these accounts. We have employer plans such as SEP, Simple, Solo 401ks. These are really used for either large tax deductions or for smaller businesses that might need additional help. Lastly, we have these specialty plans such as Coverdell accounts and health savings accounts. I think these are really important because understanding what each of these accounts provide will help you really just become a better investor. So overall, all the accounts that you see here can be self-directed. So that being said, that's the little intro. I hope you guys are ready to get started. Now is the real meat and potatoes of the presentation. So get a quick sip of coffee. Love my coffee. And we're going to dive right on in. So I called the class once again, How to Make Money While You Sleep. Now, I previously taught a class on how to make money with 10K or less. And if you guys took that class, or if you didn't, the class is online. It's completely free. You can rewatch it at any point in time. But when I was teaching this class on how to make money with 10K or less, I talked about one thing and one thing only, and how to make money. And what is that, guys? If you remember anything about it, it is what we like to label as leverage. Now, there's so many different things we can leverage out there. I can leverage, my money. I can leverage my time. I can leverage my talent. I can leverage my network, right? So whatever it is that I'm leveraging is what's going to make me money today, all right? Or make me money in the future. So how are we leveraging, right? Why should we be using leverage with a retirement account? Now, when I say leverage, I don't mean necessarily borrowing money from the bank, right? I mean just leveraging in general. We got to leverage more than just us, because obviously we want to use a retirement account. We want to use an IRA. But why? Well, it comes down to A, your retirement account, and B, your time. So let's look at the difference between the time and the retirement account aspect. And I'll start with the time. We all know there's only so many hours in a day. We understand, right, and it's common knowledge, at least I hope so, that there's only 24 hours in the day. This means I can only accomplish myself really so much during that time frame. And I'm going to say there's only 18 hours because I need 6 hours of sleep. Probably only need 6 because I drink a buttload of coffee. So knowing this, right, great, there's only so many hours in the day. I now need to separate my needs and my wants. And many of us out there will get these confused and get these mixed up. First off, what are my needs? My needs are very basic for all of us. I need a place to live. Not only do I need a place to live, I need some food, need some water, right? Need a car. There we go. That's going to get me from A to B. That's pretty much my needs. So what are my wants then? Well, I said I need a house. I don't have kids. It's just me and my wife, right? So I'd say, hey, I need a house with a bathroom and a kitchen, really. But my wants are I want a 3-bedroom house with a 2-bath and a big yard on an acre of land. Well, that's a want. That's not a need. All right. And some of us mix this up. I right now drive a Toyota Corolla. But what I really want is a full-size Dodge Ram TRX. It's like a $110,000 truck by the time I'm done building it. But notice that's just a want. right? So I need to really figure out what are my needs and what are my wants to help start to determining the leverage aspect, which we'll get to. Lastly is, what do you have? Currently, do you have what you need to get by before we start even leveraging stuff? If we have what we need to understand that we have to set aside something right now today before we can really get to what our wants are. Even though I do want that new vehicle, even though I do want that bigger house, even though I don't need it today. If I don't need it today, then let's make do with what we have, which leads to the retirement account. A lot of you out there, especially if you're not my client yet, you may have a 401k at your job, a 403b, an IRA, a pension plan. So I always ask people, well, how often do you look at it, right? Most of us out there do not look at our retirement accounts on a consistent basis. All right? I'm a prime example at my 401k with Quest, not my self-directed IRA, but my 401k. I look at it once a year, and that's because my operations department sends me a statement. I go, ooh, I need to shovel in more money. That's literally how often we look at it. Well, then that leads me to the question, well, what is your retirement account doing right now? Right? Right now, specifically, if you have a 401k, IRA, pension plan, TSP, doesn't matter what it is it invested in? What is it physically doing? Most of us don't know. Most of us have no idea what our retirement accounts are doing or what they're invested in. So this finally leads to, how can we leverage it? Is there a way I can leverage my retirement account to create more wealth and more funds for me? That way I can meet my wants, not my needs. Yes, there is. And obviously, Quest considers it a self-directed retirement account. So let's look at some case studies. We're going to dive right on in, and I have 3 case studies that we're going to kind of be analyzing. Now, as I talk about these case studies, I'm not going to be putting numbers up there. I'm not going to be, these case studies aren't, hey, look, this is someone who did a fix and flip and made it a home run deal. Nope. Because all that is numbers, and most of us have seen all the good case studies and the bad case studies. So what this is going to really be case studies on types of investments. What are the pros to this type of investment? What are the cons? And how is it passive? How am I using this to leverage my time today? Take the 18 hours that I have, right, and extend it. Make more money in that same 18-hour time frame. So the first thing that I think a lot of people consider to be a form of passive income, and I don't care who you are, right? There's always going to be debates on these things, and well, I don't consider it passive because of XYZ. We'll get to that stuff, guys. But I definitely think there's a strong argument to be made that passive income can be created through rental properties. All right. So we're going to look at the pros and cons of rentals. From the best, I consider a big pro, it's really the best overall performance of any real estate investment over time. And we'll look at and see why. If you have the time, it can always outlast the market. Why is this? Because the property itself is tangible. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't disappear unless it burns to the ground. Even then, you have insurance. What are the cons? Most rental properties, they're a lot of work, right? It involves a lot of your time. You could have some bad tenants. And I put COVID-19, rent relief programs, things up there, but Congress can always make new rules and regulations that could affect rentals. So we're going to dive into each of these and talk more about it. So let's dive into the pros section first of rental properties. Let's start off with the pros being, it's a tangible asset. What do I mean by tangible? I can feel it. I can touch it. I can see it. I can look at it, right? But with a stock, I don't. I don't really own anything specifically, right? I own a share in a company, but I don't, tomorrow it could disappear. If the market crashes, even if my house goes down in value, or if I invest in a bank and the bank disappears, someone runs away with my money, well, it doesn't happen with a house. The house is tangible. I can physically go touch it, all right? This is really why it can outlast a market crash. If you can hold on to a property, well, man, there's only so much space. This also means I can have true insurance. I can actually insure my property for fire, for tornadoes, for water damage, for even rental insurance. It doesn't matter what it is, homeowners insurance. You can have insurance on this physical asset. And I think that's a big pro. Lastly, there's only so much land available. And if you're living in a bigger city, right? I live in Houston, we're seeing this. We are literally seeing right now such a huge increase that is just absolutely ridiculous in property values going up lately. Why? Because there's only so much room available. People are moving closer into bigger cities because where the jobs are located. So that house is worth 100 grand, it's now worth 150. The house was worth 150, is now worth 210. The house that was worth 210 is worth 300. I bought a homestead house in 2018 for 171,000. My neighbor just sold his homestead house for 310. How did my house appreciate $120,000 in 3 years? That's ridiculous. So I think it's a huge asset. You can debt leverage property. Despite what Dave Ramsey says, I believe debt in the proper forms can be fantastic. If I wanted to use my IRA and I only had, let's say, $40,000 in there, I can't buy a property. Yes, you can. Your IRA can take a loan just like you could. You can easily debt leverage a property to pick up an asset. Not only this, is a lot of people are scared of debt leveraging properties, but UDFI allows an IRA to take certain tax deductions that it typically doesn't get to take. It means less money out of your pocket. This is one of the few assets in the world that you can actually debt leverage and make passive income today. I think that is such a big pro that a lot of people miss. So what's the downsides to a rental property? The rehabs. Oh my goodness. Man, there's always something to be fixed. I don't care what anyone says. There's always something that is going to be broken, needs to fix, updated. All right. The updating side, I was mentioning how a house can outlast the market. If the market crashes and you hold the house for 20 years, this is great because it's paid off, right? It obviously increased in value, but if you're not updating it, well, no one wants to move in a house with 20-year-old cabinets and a 20-year-old sink. Styles change. Granite's really big right now in every single kitchen. Man, my grandma, when I was a kid, she had the plastic thing on the counter, that looked like fake wood, right? It was wood, but it was really just a piece of plastic that stuck over something. I don't know. That was used to be in. It's not the way anymore. So updating. Tenants can destroy a property. I think it's one of the biggest downsides is those tenants and toilets. And this is coming from a guy that currently owns 2 rental properties outside of an IRA. I had 3. Guess me, the reason I had 3 and only 2 now is because I had to sell one because the tenants trashed it so bad and I didn't have enough capital in my pocket at the time to get it fully fixed up. So I sold it as is. So I think this is really unique to understand, right? I always say another con is actually renting the property, right? Once we do get the property rented, right? What happens if the tenants don't pay? Man, you got to go through foreclosures. You got to either kick them out. You got to find better tenants, etc. Government regulations. Something like COVID could always step in and create regulations that went through this. I like this. So I got a comment on here saying that someone went through the Dave Ramsey and Robert Kiyosaki transition several years back, trying to figure out the correct attitude towards debt. I figured one must be wrong. Man, neither are wrong, neither are right. Everyone out there that's listening to this presentation is in a different point in their life. Dave Ramsey makes a great point on saving money. Pay off those credit cards. Pay off your debt, all right, to get you where you need to be. Robert Kiyosaki, though, the way he presents it is not debt leveraging credit cards, not taking loans out personally, but he is talking about what I would label as good debt, and there is a difference. So I don't think there's one right or wrong. But back to the presentation. If you don't want to deal with tenants or government issues, right, out of pocket on the debt leverage side of things, right, you got to usually hire a property manager. Property managers cost money. I have a property manager. Actually, I love my property manager out here. She is probably one of the best. If you want her contact info, I'll give it to you. But property managers do cost some money. So these are some of the cons. So what are the key takeaways for this type of passive money? because we can make so much money using a rental property. Keep it up to date and keep the code. All right. Have good insurance. I would argue use a property manager. And if you're using debt, make sure you're aware and understand UBIT/UDFI inside an IRA. I think this is one of the best ways, all right, and it's one of the most common ways we see people create wealth. And this is because properties increase in value, and you can create a little bit of passive income today. All right. How does this make money when I sleep? Because whether I do something today or not, my house is probably increasing in value. That's the key. I can purchase an asset today that will always go up in price. Rental properties is great, but this is not the only way to make passive income. What are some other case studies we typically see? All right. The next one is actually how I got started in real estate. I didn't start with fix and flips or rentals or wholesales. I started with notes. Lending and borrowing to real estate investors. I love the note passive side. You can get started with very little money. It's easy to kind of accomplish. It's less work. There's less liability. And notice I said you get good returns. I didn't say great or excellent or, oh my gosh, a home run deal, knocked it out of the park. Nah, it's not the case with notes or lending money. Right? But there's cons. You have to have knowledge. You have to know how to vet a loan. You have to really understand what I mean by this if you want to make this type of money passively. Know how to protect yourself when lending. Unfortunately, a lot of lenders, they don't know how to protect themselves. What ends up happening is as they lend capital, they lend money, right? They get into trouble because of XYZ. Who knows, right? And they just didn't know what to do. They got taken advantage of because a borrower was new, what I'm going to label as real estate language, and we'll talk about in just a minute. Lastly, is you kind of need a little team in place in case of worst case scenarios of foreclosures. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about that. I love the comments down below. Keep them coming, guys. I'm seeing all sorts of stuff up here from talking about David Ramsey and Robert Kiyosaki. This is awesome. Make sure you guys always do your own due diligence. And I think that is like fats. They are good and bad. I'm probably going to leave that comment up there for a while. I like it. So can you provide your PM contact? Yes, I can. Zach, if you're on here, can you go ahead and give Sydney my email address and I'll do an email introduction to my property manager. She's really good. Keep the questions coming, guys. So back to notes. Let's focus on the pros and cons. We're going to start with the pros like always. And if I want to be a lender, right, then we know it's easy. Man, to be a lender and make passive income is so easy. It's less work. I don't have to deal with tenants and toilets. This means if something goes wrong, I don't have to deal with anything. I love this aspect, right? It could be short-term or long-term. Now, I'm going to define short-term as a year or less. Long-term, anything over a year, all right? So I like short-term, but there's an argument to be made for both sides. And we'll see what that looks like in just a second as well. Easy for structuring purposes. Man, when I'm buying a property, I'm worried about asset protection. I'm worried about being sued. I'm worried about all this other stuff. Man, if I don't have to deal with any of that stuff, I can easily structure a loan without having to establish a billion different entities. I can use just the IRA. I can use just my name. I can use just the LLC. We typically don't need to put forth a whole bunch of things out there. Now, I'm sure there's some attorneys that could disagree with me on this, but this is why we love to see the IRAs do this, right? Is there a more in-depth course on notes? Absolutely. Send me an email. I can introduce you to a guy named Eddie Speed. Believe it or not, I have his note right here, all about note investing. He'll give you a free class that he'll teach. It's not like an online class. So good question, David. Send me an email. Mm-hmm. Lastly is minimal risk to you. Unlike the property, if I own a property personally versus notes, right, it is very minimal risk to you as an individual. Right? What's the cons, though, to notes? Whew. Lower ROIs, rates of return, typically 8 to 12%. Remember, I just told you a story a little bit ago how I bought a homestead house, $170,000 that's worth $300 today in 3 years. That's like a insane amount of rates of return if we think of just owning a physical property. I might have to deal with tenants and toilets and fixing up stuff and property. Absolutely. But is it worth it for that rate of return? Sure. But to make that type of rate of return, I have to sacrifice my time. Remember, I have to figure out how I can leverage my time better. So if I'm able to still get an additional 8 to 12% rate of return with less work, right? I understand that it means less rates of return, but I don't have to deal with those day-to-day operations, all right? You're not getting rich on a note deal, guys. Not on one, anyways. So I love notes because of this aspect. And I always look at it this way. If I had $1 million, if I could save up $1 million, if I could build up to $1 million bucks, and I could just do notes and get 1% a month, that would make me 10 grand a month passively. That's pretty attractive. 10 grand a month and I don't have to do anything. So I love the note side of things. There's other cons though, besides the low rate of returns. Verbiage. Man, those of you guys out there that are active and I'm going to say experienced real estate investors, you know we speak a different language. Options, foreclosures, ARVs, title insurance, titles, the probate issues, lien positions, etc. You need to know the difference between a first lien position and a second lien, an unsecured note and a secured note, right? You need to know the difference between a deed of trust and a mortgage. Is there one? I don't know. Maybe. Warranty deed versus deed of trust. What's the difference? You need to understand the real estate language, right? So I love this because a lot of people don't. And this is usually where people get in trouble is they don't understand the verbiage of the note side. Right? So what are the key takeaways to building passive income using notes, right? Well, let's look at it. You look at the property frequently. Sure, you can, but you don't have to deal with the property. We can escrow out repairs so we don't have to lend all our money out at one time. I like this aspect, right? Talk to your lenders, talk to your borrowers. I think this works really well. I stick to 1 year loan terms. And like I was saying, if I'm going to do a loan, I like short term. Why? Probably because I'm younger. I'm 35. Right? So 35, and I always say it's an Army 35. Anyone who was in the Army will know what that means because my back, knees, they're broken. They really are. That being said, I like to see my money come back. When my money comes back, I know I did something right. I know it's secure. If we do these long-term notes and something goes wrong, sometimes we can't fix it quick enough. So doing a 1 year loan, all right, I think really, really starts to make sense. Oh, I got a couple of notes up here. Is there a group that I can pool with group of investors? So Quest, we do host some events where you can do that, Sydney. Great question. As far as a group, it depends on where you live. I always tell people check out local RIAs in your area. Quest and Houston, we host a lot of aspects. I also see that you said military breaks us. Oh, you're not joking. So Jay, notes equal buying paper. I love it. All right, it really does. Notice when I talked about the rental property, it is a tangible asset, even though the note is technically tangible because the backing of the note is usually going to be property. I think there's an argument to be made it's not actually tangible. Great. So getting on to our last case study, though. I told you guys rentals, I feel like, are way over here, right? Great things, but there's a lot great rates of return. They build up quick. You own something tangible, right? But it takes a lot of your time. It can take a lot of your time. Notes is on the other side, low rates of return, low risk, but great to be passive. So is there something in the middle? Is there something in the middle of these? Absolutely. And it's called a syndication. Now, a lot of us out there know what a syndication is, whether you realize it or not. Great coffee. So what is a syndication? Right? Someone raising capital. And a lot of us out there are aware of this, and you might not have just known the legal term being syndicators, right? Multifamily, oil and gas, senior living, storage units. Earlier, there's a guy in here named Chris. I don't know if he's still on the Chris Russell, but he raises capital for senior living complexes, you know? So what does that mean? If I want to invest into a syndication and someone's raising capital, what is my role? How is that passive? How do I make money while doing nothing on the side? Make money while I can still work my full-time job. Well, let's look at the pros and cons to it. believe it or not, most syndications will have high rates of return, and it is very passive to yourself. Remember, the notes had a lower rate of return, right? And the properties had a really high rate of return. So syndications, I'd say, are above notes, below property. Now, a lot of you out there could argue with me on certain aspects. That's great. You can. Once again, this is for educational purposes. It is what it is. Syndications are passive. Once you get into a syndication deal, you don't have to do anything. Not only do you have to not do anything, you typically don't have to do anything for years and years. There's some cons, though. You have no control. With the notes and the rentals, I felt like I had control because I could control the tenants. I could choose my property manager. I could choose what title company to close at. I could choose how much to lend. I could choose all these things on how the length of the note, etc. I have zero control in any syndication. It is a long-term investment, and I'm reliant on other people's knowledge, not my own. So if I'm a control freak, which I am, Derek Long is, syndications are tough for me because of this reason. So let's look at the pros and the cons. So let's start with the pros like we've been doing, right? Is those high rates of return. Man, at Quest, we see on average about 700 to 900 investments a week. A week! Most of those come through some sort of syndication aspects, and the good ones have humongous, the largest profits, all right, for the least amount of work. I'm talking investing 100 grand and your profit is 100 grand. Like, they're great in that aspect, right? We've seen more of these in the last 2 years than the previous 10 years combined. Why is that? Think about that. I just told you I see almost 1,000 investments a week. And in the last 2 years, I've seen more syndicated deals than I have in the previous 10 years combined. Well, this is because people are starting to build up those multifamily complexes. People are building those senior livings. The baby boomers are getting older. They need senior living complexes. The next generation, they don't want the house with the white picket fence and the little dog Muffy. They don't want that stuff. Apartments are no longer ugly. When I was a kid, if you lived in an apartment, they were kind of ugly looking, ragged looking. Apartments are nice. Man, apartments are granite countertops and you have your own island and you don't have to fix anything. You have a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, someone there to maintain your property. Man, that is nice. And that's what a lot of younger generation people are looking for. So this is why real estate will always change. All right. Time. One and done. An average syndication will last 5 years. Some 3, 5, 2, 7. They're all over the place. But the average ones we see will only last 5 years. I think this is unique because if I only have to do something one time and over the next 5 years, I keep getting paid, right? And it's a good rate of return. I think that's awesome. Very limited paperwork. Man, at Quest, I need a operating agreement and the DOI. You're good to go. Sometimes a subscription agreement, which might be tied to the operating agreement. This also means it's easy to fund. If you want to use your IRA, this is the fastest funding aspect you can get through at Quest because it is quick and easy. It really, really is. Very limited paperwork. So that takes the least amount of your time. It really, really does. So let's get to those cons. Whew. The first one being no recourse. When I own a property physically, I own something tangible. When I own a note, if you don't pay me, assuming I secured it properly, right, I can foreclose. I can't do any foreclosures, though, in syndications. I have nothing tangible. I really don't. I'm investing in someone else. This means that my research is typically and very rarely on the property. My research really comes down to the individual raising capital. I'm not researching me. I'm not researching the house. I'm not researching the note or the, right? I'm researching the syndicator. I want to know what their track record is, right? If things go wrong early, I can't do anything about it. At the very beginning of a syndication, you're agreeing that you're investing with them for X amount of years, and they let you know roughly how much it is. So let's say 1 year in, they go, uh-oh, I need additional funding. And if you don't give me more money, your deal goes bad. What do? You're stuck. You're stuck. This doesn't make syndications bad. Like I said, these are one of the best things to leverage your time. Right? They really are. This comes down to the knowledge side of things. So what are you looking knowledge-wise? You're relying on someone else's knowledge. Like I said, due diligence is less on the asset and more on the individual. Make sure they understand things from 506C or 506B accreditations. If they don't know what the difference between those two are, probably don't want to invest with them. Right? One being for accredited investors, one being for sophisticated and accredited investors. Which one are you? If you don't know which one you are, you probably don't want to do a syndication. All right? SEC violations. You know how quickly you can just Google someone's name or someone's company? You just Google it and say SEC violations. And they'll let you know right off the bat. Right? Google will. If they have any violations from the SEC. These syndicators that raise capital, they're actually given an SEC regulation of how long they can raise capital for this specific deal. Right? So you want to make sure they're falling into the proper guidelines. Lastly, there's something called plan asset regulations. Most of us have the majority of our savings in our retirement account. Right? Because we've been shoveling money away for 10, 15, 20 years in there. So if you don't know what to do with this money, and you find a syndicator who's going to promise you all these things, well, they need to understand what plan asset regulations is, which talks about raising money from IRAs specifically. Interesting. So what happens if they don't know what that means? Probably don't want to invest with them. So these are all things to take into consideration. So what are the key takeaways here? Get some good background checks, check the record of the company that you want to work with. Ask questions and don't be afraid. Right? Sometimes I always say hire someone to do a little bit of legal documentation and review. It's okay. Because syndicators, they usually have a bare minimum to invest. Right? We have online classes on this. Right? You can go through all these things. I think syndications is probably going to be the new way people are looking for investments. Syndicator deals, like I said, pay one of the highest rates of return that we've seen in a long, long time. Right? So overall, what did we kind of learn as we went through these things? Making money in your sleep is just a way to make passive income. All right? Notice there's multiple different avenues, and there's no right or wrong way. All right? So you got to find something for you. Some of you out there, you like the very first aspect. You're like, man, I like the tangible. I like that property. I know it's going to take me a little bit more of my time, but I know it's tangible. I own something. I can touch it, see it, feel it, look at it. I'm not worried about the property manager. Other people are like, woof, man, I'm a doctor. I have almost zero time on my hands. I like the note. I'll lend someone some money and I'll just get my rates of return. Other you are out there like, you know what? I'm accredited. I found a good syndicator, someone that is raising capital. I trust them. I did some good research. I want to invest in their deal because I know over the next 3 to 5 years, they're going to just keep paying me dividends that are outrageous. I love it. Great. That's what fits your needs. The investment choices are literally almost unlimited for this, for ways to make passive income, money while you sleep. So what does it really come down to then? If you want to make money while you, passively and do the least amount of work, slides out of focus. Interesting. Well, I don't know what to do about that. Sorry, special projects. Bumblebee Timbo. Anyways, so outside of the investment choices, is everyone else, are the slides still out of focus? Can you read it? Someone post a comment. I'm going to keep going. All right. We're going to keep going, guys. So what is it then that we're looking for? If you want to go ahead and figure out how to get the best type of passive income, the best ways to go through these type of motions, what do you need? Education. All you guys out there, that's why you're attending this free class, is you never want to stop learning. And there are so many ways out there to get proper good free education. Quest alone, man, we have a YouTube channel, Facebook. You can find us out on Google and stuff. And we just go to our website. We have endless options of education for everyone out there. Completely free to you. You have no clue how many times I see people sign up for coaching programs, for mentorship programs, which are great. Some of us out there need that. Right. However, a lot of times you can get more information out there free before paying for these type of programs, right? I can literally send you a list of classes from syndicated classes, oil and gas, notes, fix and flips, rentals, wholesaling, you name it. Quest has done a class and brought in a specialized speaker. We really have. Free to you. Next. You got to get out there and do socials. Every week or every month, Quest hosts the first Tuesday, the second Tuesday, and the third Tuesday, depending as you see, Houston, Austin, and Dallas, a free social every single month where people can come in, network, right? You have a chance to pitch some deals to one another and really help each other go through these type of motions. Why aren't you attending them? Right? Attend them online. Even we give you a chance online to pitch your own deals online and stuff to network with one another. But I think it's always best to do it in person, especially if you're here in Texas. All right. See a couple messages from here. Hold on. I wish I knew about Quest Education. Oh, I like this. Look at that. Thank you, Sydney. Man, you're the star of the show today. Marina says, same question that Chris has. Any penalties? Let's see. Chris said, Derek, if someone wanted to open an IRA account with Quest, how easy it to transfer funds from a current IRA/401k account to Quest? It's very simple. So if anyone, and Chris, so it's funny, he's a friend of mine, so this is a loaded question. He's purposely asking this question. There is no penalty if you want to transfer an IRA or 401k or anything like that over to an IRA with Quest. Now, IRAs are much easier to transfer. We set them up real fast for you. A 401k does need to be what I call inactive. I can't be employed. So if it's an active 401k, an active 403b, something where my job is still paying into it, rarely will my job let me move it. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. I say the best thing to do is send me an email, right? And let me know how I can help you out. And we'll look at your situation because everyone out there will be in a different area. Okay. Now back to the socials, guys. Attend them. Network with one another. It's literally where you can find your next investment. I'm not exaggerating. This is the best things to do. Well, Derek, is there anything else? Absolutely. Quest, we host all sorts of things. Right, Sydney, I said you're in San Antonio. We're doing on March 24th a free class to help, and we call it Amplify Your Retirement. 100% free to you. Take a small amount of money, learn how to invest it into a large way. We're bringing in multiple different speakers. And we're providing a free lunch just for you guys down there at the Norris Conference Center in San Antonio. 100% free to you. All you need to do is register, all right? Email marketing@questtrust.com. It is that simple, and they will sign you up right away. Hold on, we're going to put that right there in the chat box. Bam. See if I can. Boom. Right there. Email marketing@questtrust.com. Man, Derek, I have a large amount of money. I need to find good deals, bad deals. I need someone to really help me out and go through those type of motions. Well, you know what? I have a class for that too. We're literally calling it the Major League Investing. In Houston, Austin, and Dallas on March 3rd, 10th, and 17th. It's completely free to you guys. Once again, 100% free. We're having a series of speakers come in and talk about bad deals. What I'm going to label as good deals, right? I hit a double. And then home run deals. So you're going to get all three levels, right? You're going to hear the goods, the bads, the uglies, everything. Once again, guys, this is 100% free to you. Right? I don't get it. I hear all the time, Derek, I can't find a deal. Derek, where do I place my money? Derek, I don't know what to invest in. My first question is, have you been to one of our free classes? Yeah, Derek, but there's so many things out there. I need more education. I really do. I hear it all the time. So you know what? We're bringing back the biggest event in Texas, the Quest Expo. Now, it's going to be hosted from September 23rd through September 25th, an all-day event. We have a casino night, open bar, casinos, you name it, all on Quest. This is the only event that we have to charge for. You know why? Quest will bring in somewhere between 30 to 50 speakers from across the U.S. to help teach and talk on different topics, from raising capital to lending money to entity structures to CPAs and tax attorneys going up and talking about entity structures and tax advantage things. It is unbelievable. And a lot of us out there missed the last expo. And so what I wanted to do is share a quick video, which I'm going to bring up here. 1 minute. Bloop. Bam. Let's see if this will play.
I'm here at the Quest Expo because I figured that I'm always a student, constantly growing, trying to keep our skills sharp. And there's tidbits here that are going to help me be more successful in helping homeowners.
Meet owner finance professionals.
Looking to network.
To see if I can't raise some private money.
Getting a little more education.
Great time to come and connect with high quality, like-minded people who are actually doing deals and investing with their self-directed retirement accounts.
It's been a phenomenal event, packed with people who really are interested in getting educated, and a lot of phenomenal people who are helping to educate them.
The power of the Quest message brings a lot of high-quality guest speakers to this event. I was quite impressed with the caliber of folks that I was able to interact with.
Several great speakers that have just blown my mind, opened my eyes up to different strategies that I wouldn't have thought of.
A lot of us sometimes that have experience think that we know it all already, and the beautiful part, I'm able to take away some great nuggets and some great tools from some great real estate investors and vendors that are here in the room.
How do you get access to money? How do you get access to deal flow? You do that by going to events like this and making contacts and making a network.
My favorite part of the event is the networking. Just a great group of people.
Getting to connect one-on-one with the different investors here.
The networking with Quest is great.
It's a high energy group, a lot of really diverse people.
You got to come. If you're new, you need education, contacts, network. If you're experienced, it's the funding, it's the money, it's the deal flow. All of those things you're going to find at the Quest Expo.
When you get into a room with over 500 like-minded investors, they'll help you up your game all the way around. So you've got to get out of your comfort zone, get onto a plane if you need to, and get to the next Quest Expo.
Bam, guys. So one of the things I really wanted to just kind of end out the day with is making sure people understand that as we try to find ways to grow wealth, we try to find ways to raise capital, help each other out, notes, rentals, syndications, fix and flips. It doesn't matter what it is. There's education out there. Quest has done a fantastic job making sure that we can just provide you with anything that you need. We really have. We vetted all of our speakers. We bring in CPAs and attorneys, and we want to make sure you're getting the information that you want. Was that a Quincy cameo? Absolutely it was. So guys, I want to just end by saying network with one another. Find your next investment. Find your next deal. Let us know what your questions are. If you're interested in a certain class, right? And you're like, hey, Derek, I would like to hear a class about this topic. Email our marketing marketing@questtrust.com. Say, hey, Derek, I want to learn about this topic, this topic, this topic. I don't care what it is. We will find an educated speaker that won't have to sell you a program to bring you in and talk about it. There's a billion different ways out there to make passive income. There's a billion people out there that are ready to help and make things happen. So if you have questions for me, reach out to me. My name's Derek Long. Most of you guys know me. You've worked with me for a long time. So give us a call. Right? You can email us directly. You can do whatever you need to. So I hope this was helpful, guys. If you have any other questions, you let me know, and I will see you all around. So have a good one.